Why do you think people are so zealously worshipping Russia and being massive apologists? A lot of it really is leftists who never understood anything more than America bad. You have to understand, okay? The shadow of American national supremacy covers the entire world. The narrative that America is like the glorious bringer of democracy and justice is the mainstream narrative in essentially all of the West. At least that's like the general standard. You know, obviously people in Europe are critical of the US, but it's still kind of like the underlying narrative. That American supremacy shit is really pervasive, especially here in America. So a lot of people essentially experience a kind of traumatic reframing of their entire internal history and dialogue when they realize that America is actually kind of the opposite of that. That historically we've spread tyranny and dictatorship and war and violence to people. And the shock of that realization causes them to not only shift their politics, but shift them so wildly that they're more about fighting against what they used to be than they are about fighting against things that are bad, you know? When you see lefties who are arguing about how America bad all the time, the real person they're arguing with is themselves back when they were young enough to believe the things they're ascribing to you. That's the real thing that they're doing right there. When they're arguing with you about how, you know, Assad must not be that bad, Syria can be right, and Ukraine bad because US bad, blah, blah, blah. Like, what they're really arguing against is their memory of themselves back when they were 17, the Obama administration was still in full swing, and they sincerely believed that hope and change would be enough to fix the world. And they're angry that they were that person, and they take it out on everyone else. I legitimately believe that is it. Now, that doesn't describe all of them, but I think that is a strong tendency that informs a lot of this behavior. Unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, this is the secret that they don't want you to know, okay? America is only uniquely bad because America is uniquely strong. In terms of how they use their state power to suppress and to attack, America is unexceptional. I mean that. America is exceptional only in its strength. Other nation states are just as cruel and vindictive, and sometimes they're quite a bit worse, because they don't even have the domestic stability necessary to ferment internal resistance to that kind of behavior. America isn't some super bad world power because America's uniquely bad. It's just because we had the power to be a world power, really. And any, you know, honest reflection on the Cold War would show that while the USSR was a superpower, they were not better than us. They were slightly less powerful, and for that reason their reach extended less far, but they were not better than us. They did all the things that we did. They suppressed ethnic populations, they killed off political dissenters, they invaded countries for no reason other than for their own geopolitical benefit. They do this all the time. They did that all the time. Nation states are nation states. That's why the greatest enemy is the nation state, and it's why that I've always considered myself, if nothing else, highly sympathetic to the anarchists, because any left-leaning analysis which begins with America has done many bad things and ends with, and that's why America specifically is bad, is one which is missing the forest for the trees. The trees are the nation states. That is the world that we live in. And if you can't recognize that, then you have no business commenting on situations like this, because what Russia is doing is perfectly in line with the political incentives that exist for nation states that have the military power to suppress their neighbors without facing significant retribution. You understand?